I would really appreciate if you could all send your best wishes to my Italian friend who's in hospital at the moment because he's had both his hands severed, which means doctors think he'll never be able to talk again. Hello again, honky tonks. First of all, I was completely and utterly wrong. Putin did invade. I just didn't envisage him invading as he did under these set of circumstances. I thought he was just doing these maneuvers, putting his chess pieces, putting his troops and vehicles on the border with Ukraine as a form of threat and intimidation to get what he wanted. Then he'd move him back, but he did invade, and I was completely and utterly wrong. I've got no qualms admitting when I'm wrong whatsoever. I'm only human. Thank God I was brought up by a woman who taught me not to be self-righteous. So the situation in the Ukraine is quite grave. It's going to escalate to a full-scale war, I reckon. But I don't think Putin is stupid enough to go over the border from the Ukraine into NATO territories, because Biden has said if he does that, then they'll get involved militarily. Even then, I doubt they'll do anything, because even though the Ukraine is a sovereign democratic state, they've had 6 presidents in the whole time that Putin has been president. And he's been president for a long time, apart from one period where his puppet became president and he was prime minister. So basically, he was telling his boss what to do, and the boss did as he was told, otherwise, or the old poison. We know what Putin's like. And the EU and NATO have done absolutely nothing whatsoever. It's rather cowardly of them. I think so. I know people are arguing, oh, we shouldn't get involved in other people's wars, but the Ukraine is a free democratic country, and it's been invaded by a person which is effectively a dictator. Now, I know I'm not blaming Putin completely for what's happening, because the United Nations have encroached slowly up to the borders of Russia, and they had an agreement years ago that it wouldn't happen, but it has happened. And in a way, Putin is kind of defending himself, but he's done it in a rather aggressive fashion, which does him no favours whatsoever. But that being said, NATO and the EU have done nothing. We stand by Ukraine at a safe distance, so to speak. I know the EU have sent some helmets over to the Ukraine. I know Britain have sent some armoured vehicles, etc., and weapons. And the French have sent them some white flags because they've got a few left over from World War II and the rest. And yeah. But for some reason, there are celebrities on Twitter. I'm always going on about Twitter, but Twitter is a wealth of information about the mentally unstable lefties. And it tells you how they work and what they're all about. And it's just, these people, I tell you. If I wasn't on YouTube, I wouldn't be going on Twitter, because that whole platform, the people on there make me physically sick. But I feel it's important I do these videos about what goes on Twitter for people who aren't on there, just to open your eyes, you know, just to make you a bit more aware that these people exist, and for you to be on your guard if you're on the internet, because these people are fucking dangerous, at least some of them. They're into doxing, incite violence and hatred against conservatives, nationalists, patriots, anyone who is proud of you're proud of your white heritage but not racist, then you know they're after you. It's open season, and it's these people who are hunting you down. So of course there's celebrities on there, lefty celebrities, and they're doing the old, adding the old Ukrainian flag to the profiles, pray for Ukraine, blah de blah de blah. And there are still people out there who are trying to associate Trump with what Putin has done. Of course, Trump isn't president anymore. And consider this, the whole time Trump was president of the United States, Putin did nothing. Putin invaded the Crimea under Obama, and he's done this while Obama was president, and he's done this while Obama's stooge, Bungalow Biden, is president, and neither president has done anything. But one celebrity in the US on Twitter who has made the link with Trump and Putin still is a guy called Stephen King. He's a very famous horror writer. I've read 2 of his books. One is it's called Cycle of the Werewolf. A good book, turned into an excellent film in the 80s called Silver Bullet. I recommend you watch it. Good horror film. And the other one is Salem's Lot. a book, TV series, go for the 1970s TV series, not the 90s, because that's shit. It's really good. Anyway, and I only read his books, and I thought he was just an author, but he became very political when Trump got elected, and he suffers from a very serious self-inflicted disease called Trump derangement syndrome. There are many people who have this. It's self-destructive, it just makes you look like a twat if you blame Trump for everything, basically, and Stephen King is one of these, definitely. So Stephen King tweeted this. What can I say about this? Anyway, he said, Mr. Putin has made a serious miscalculation. He forgot he's no longer dealing with Trump. The Russian collusion lie was just that. It was a huge, massive lie. It followed Trump all throughout his presidency to discredit him. And they're still doing it now, even though it's been proven to be a lie. There was no such thing as a Russian collusion. It wasn't Putin that got Trump elected. It was the good people of the United States. He was a democratically elected president, and because people like Stephen King, lefties in America, don't like him, then of course they're trying to throw everything at him. I've done many videos about that. So Biden had a press conference last night with journalists, and unusually the journalists were allowed to pepper him with questions, and he answered them. Weirdly, he was looking at the camera the whole time, so obviously he was reading a teleprompter, even though he was like that. And then when they were asking questions, he gave a horrible little smirk and then looked down, because he knew what the answers were, because he's gone, isn't he? He's a senile old grandpa who shit his pants. And the way he minced his way to the podium tells me either his colostomy bag's full or he shit his nappy. You know, it's that time. It was bedtime for Biden, and he wasn't ready for this, so he did it anyway. And he went on for quite a while. And then they asked him, what are you waiting for to do something? Biden said, well, let's see how the sanctions are working in a month's time. Now, if Donald Trump was president, the Democrats and the lefties would all be demanding he send troops over and a huge war with Russia, just like they did with Syria. The only time Trump bombed anyone during his whole time as president was when he bombed Syria, and that was at the demand of the Democrats. He did that. That's the only time they praised him, when he went to war. Sick fuckers. So Biden, Bungalow Biden, hasn't even signed off any personal sanctions against Russia anyway, as if sanctions work. Putin, he doesn't give a fuck about sanctions. They've sanctioned and sanctioned and sanctioned the guy and Russia, and it's led to this. He's still invaded the country. It doesn't work. When's it going to sink in that the only way to deal with Russia is through strength, be more powerful than them? It's the only language these people understand. And actually, Biden's helped old Putin, because he signed off with a major oil and natural gas pipeline, which made Russia billions. That's what he did. And people are saying Trump was a puppet of Russian collusion. What a joke. But going back to Stephen King, the headline of this video, I should be talking about him already, shouldn't I? If you go onto his Twitter feed, if you're on Twitter, then you will see serious libelous defamations against Trump. This guy absolutely hates Trump, and he doesn't care about linking him with Russia, because as far as he's concerned, orange man bad. He's even called him a quisling. Who the hell can Trump be the quisling of anyone? He's like the alpha male. He is the god emperor, isn't he? He's not the kind of guy who'd play second fiddle to anyone. And he also called Trump a very nasty man. This is Stephen King. This is the guy who tweeted, and then he deleted it, when a bus carrying a bunch of Republicans, of course, Stephen King's a lefty Democrat, isn't he? That bus crashed, killing 1 or 2 Republicans, including the driver, I believe. And he laughed about it, he joked about it. And there's this guy calling people like Donald Trump and Putin nasty individuals. Stephen King is a nasty individual. And I'm not a looker myself, but look at him, he looks weird, doesn't he? He has got a really weird face. It's like a cross between the Grinch and, I don't know, John Major, former Prime Minister of the UK. Very nasty, mentally ill individual with Trump derangement syndrome. And there's no cure for that. There is no cure for Trump derangement syndrome, unless, of course, you grow yourself a set of bollocks and have some responsibility about yourself. But there we go, that's what I think. This Ukraine mess will be going on for a while now because the mainstream media want it to. I urge you all not to listen to what the mainstream media are presenting to you regarding this. Dig for information yourselves and look what's happening. You can do it. Just don't use Google. Use DuckDuckGo or something, or another search platform that isn't as censorious and totalitarian as Google and other left-wing platforms. And that's that. So let me know what you think in the comments. If you want to support my channel, link down below, etc. And that's that. So comment, share, subscribe. Until my next video, Roger Trout.